up, fellas? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad. I'm with the RC Supremacy. I do appreciate you guys tuning on in, man. Really quickly, before we get into the video, I want to thank all of you guys. Every single one of you. Let's hug real quick. For all the support showing, man. The videos, despite my hiatus, have been doing phenomenal. We put out some shorts that did amazing for us, and the support you guys are showing on the website and the heels that you have me backed up on every day, getting orders in and out it's been so heartfelt, man. I just want to thank you guys so much. I feel that it goes unheard. It goes in one ear and out the other. It sounds like a broken record. It's just things that you're oblivious to, but it really has afforded me the opportunity to watch my son grow in the confinements of our house and working on this business, growing this every day, and we sure have grown so much because of your support and entrusting us to get you these products. We literally only carry the greatest in 110 and the greatest stuff you can source, parts, chassis in 124, so you know it's more of a boutique vibe. It's more of a mom and pop, things that I buy and spend my hard-earned money on. I want you guys to experience the same and have less struggles and less questions along the way. So that's what we're in it for. Always just know that. I want to thank you guys. Where and why we're at this video. I mentioned the live stream. We gave away a ton of things a few nights ago. As I was approaching this specific drop with the DPA 2.0, we had to battle a lot of things. I had Hurricane Ian right up our coast, man. God bless everybody on the west side of Florida. It was literally 80 miles south of us, and early projections had it coming right towards us. So thank the man above. We had a lot of things unfortunately take a halt. A lot of packages that were en route. A lot of uncertainties there had me back on the preparing foot than actually focused on business. So we took some time off. Thankfully, we did not get too affected, and we're back to normal operating hours in business. So let's get right into the GD PRO SPEC, the XRX 2.0 that you're about to see today. I rolled that out on stream. We had a great time, had a concurrent 60 plus guys in there. I was giving things away left and right, but we unboxed it and unveiled it together. It was the first time over the year plus in developing this chassis that I had held a final product and I seen it in person. And it wasn't built. Granted, they do come 80% built out of the box. This was not built. This is literally an out of unboxing experience that I wanted to have with you guys on live, and of course hinting it for the few days prior. So that brings us to the build. I went ahead and started a build on camera, but it just got too late, and I worked on that heavily the days to come in between the immense amount of orders that I was going through. You guys had me flabbergasted on the amount of support shown, and I'm still catching up. But luckily, all the chassis that were sold in the last few days, which were 80–90% of the actual stock I had, the now 40 kits that are in circulation that were sold in the time frame of 3 days ago to now, they're going to be arriving to their new owners very soon, and I just want them to have a reference video for not only the adjustments in millimeters and lengths, but what is different from the actual manual kit to what you're seeing. It's very, very, very little adjustments that are going to need to be made. You'll see that very shortly. This is more or so an unboxing and just addressing those for those guys. And one of the reasons why these issues came up is, as I mentioned, this chassis was developing all the way up until the release. We had manuals printed for it months ago because we had CAD and we had renders and we had samples and we had prototypes of the products and a working prototype that we thought was going to be it. We came to realization that we wanted to change a few things, and we set back the dates. So with that manual being printed, unfortunately it doesn't reflect the actual physical model that you're seeing today. So I want to go ahead and just go over a few measurements, address a few of the things that are different. Very, very, very few things. Very few things, guys. And rest assured there will be an updated PDF on that, but just rest assured that it's very little. The build was still phenomenal. It's still, in my opinion, is gonna set the scene upside down and just be that chassis. It really is. And not to mention history. Quick knowledge drop: XRX is now the first company in the micro drift scene to have 2 platforms in production. Let me say that again. They've got 2 different platforms in production currently that will be here forever. Like your Yokomo YD2Z and X and D and G. This is the first micro drift company to have 2 different models in production, 2 entirely different kits with entirely different parts for the most and design. So aesthetically pleasing, the color very limited, and what you're gonna see today is gonna be a representation of that, man. It's that chassis. The C knows what's good, boys. Let's go! Alrighty guys, this is the kit built out of the box. I wanted just to go ahead and show you a quick little overview of what you're seeing here and what we're going to be building eventually through the manual and on film. This is just an initial thought and review after the fact. We did find a few issues in the manual upon building and some things that were on a previous iteration that is not the final version of what you see. So the manual isn't as accurate as I would have hoped, but just a few minor adjustments on a few things for those guys that did purchase one and will be getting into their builds any day now. They have shipped, so within that 4-day of shipping time frame, I'm expecting for guys to get into it, and I just want to have this video done for them and to eliminate any headaches. But all in all, the kit went together phenomenally. It was a pleasure to build. It had you know, again, one of the only on the market that come almost pre-assembled with the majority of the gear housing and the front area, bulkhead, and arms assembled. We are going to go ahead and address those small concerns in the manual right here and go ahead and just go do a small overview of the kit at the end and again, my initial thoughts on it. So let's get right into it. If you do have yours aside you or you're about to get into it, go ahead and take your manual out so we can go over this together and you can make those adjustments to better aid you guys on your build. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the manual and address some of those steps here so we can better assist and get this squared away until the new PDF comes about. You're going to see that a few of the illustrations aren't mimicking and representing the physical chassis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the manual and also show you the physical chassis and what is different, and of course to aid you guys through the build, because some of the iterations that were in this previous manual aren't displayed on the physical. So we're gonna go ahead and do that really quickly. I'm gonna go ahead and breeze through this just to show you. It's very few steps, and the steps that you're not gonna see asterisked with the star are most of the steps are already built, or you not needing to have to address anything. So let's keep that in mind as we go. And as stated, 1, 2, and 2 up this way does not need to be touched. It is a reference if you do need to take the chassis apart, but these steps right here are already built for you. The first small thing that we're going to change and adjust here is step 3. It's got asterisk with the star, and what we're doing is we're just adjusting the millimeter. So it's stating 7.6 in between both ball cups, and I went ahead and adjusted that to 8.5, 8.6. It does have a about a 1 degree toe out from box that I gave it, so that's just a real favorable settings. And again, that is your steering linkage, your linkage that's going to connect from your front steering knuckle to the servo horn itself. And the servo horn is a unibody direct drive, so it does have a small kink where it acts as your servo horn and the steering rack. So it's the most efficient and definitely performance bound setup that you can get on the market. We're going to go into another step. With that being said, on the servo horn in the exact type that it is, you're going to want to be very careful on the next step in making sure you do so, because you will find yourself rubbing a little bit in and around the suspension mount with the horn itself if you miss this particular step. And this was supposed to be stated out of the manual from the get, but it was misprinted, and you're going to need a 0.01 shim, which is included in the kit. It's a small silver shim washer that you're going to want to put in between the servo mount on the chassis, which in this case is the green, which is the green mount here and the green mount on the bulkhead. And you're going to want to place the shim in between that mount and the mounting surface tabs on the servo. You're going to, again, put them in between, not on top, in between, guys. And that's a 0.01 shim included in the kit. Moving on, you're gonna see step 5 right here. It has an illustration that I jotted and sketched in of 2 additional carbon rails that are included in this physical kit that was not rendered originally on this particular model. You'll see that it's a static 98 millimeter, which before in early projections of the chassis was not going to be adjustable. This in particular model is adjustable from 98 to 110 millimeter wheelbase. And to show you that in the physical, we're going to go ahead and look at the top rails right here. You're going to see that you have rails that have a slotted adjustment area to move the back portion and the front portion together to shorten or lengthen your wheelbase. But you're also going to see that it's attached to the front gear housing with 2 4mm button heads, and it's sandwiched in between the upper rails with a 8mm standoff. It is green, and you will have that in the kit with the 4mm button heads as well. A lot of people were expressing some concerns that it looks like it's bent or it is going to give you an issue. And I'll tell you what, guys, this is very, very, very strong carbon fiber. In addition, the design was purposely produced to have a small dip right here towards the back end to take the stress off the lateral bend that you think's occurring. But again, this is adjustable, you know, via both of these, so you're not going to be able to get flex. You're going to have a very rigid chassis in general. Of course, a little flex isn't bad. Some chassis, you know, are coming out of the box with a lot more. This gives you the option to do so. So keep that in mind on the top towers here, or on the top rails, that these stretch the distance from, and the bottom plates are locked in together via the green standoffs, both all of these and all of these mounting holes. And you'll notice that right here we got 6mm standoffs that lock the battery plate in with the lower plates here. And you're gonna see that one more time. We got the transmission plate, as I call it, and the main chassis plate right here. Alright, moving on, we got step 6. Step 6 is just a measurement adjustment. Instead of taking it from 2.1 millimeters, we're going to be taking it to 4 millimeters right here. And this is the lower front arm. This is the lower front arm. Moving on, we got 6, 7, 8, and then second step in 8. The only reason why I made an adjustment here, we saw this previous step, that this is now adjustable chassis. Right here, I put an illustration, a little draw in where the chassis split, and it does have more additional mounting right here. So keep that in mind, as well as the actual main deck itself. This is an illustration of it being a static 98. Again, we have a small break right here in the chassis where they are adjustable now. So keep that in mind on step 8. Step 10, it's going to be another adjustment on both parts that you're seeing and measurements. These are no longer all thread grub screws for your camber linkages in the rear. This is now a silver turnbuckle style with adjustment right back here. You can see the pinhole as well. That gives you the ease of adjustment and wrenching on that camber on the fly. So instead of the 3 millimeters it was calling for, go ahead and run 5. Mount them lower right shock tower on the upper, and then the knuckle you're going to want to bring it all the way out to the right, in this case, of the rear knuckle. Keep in mind the orientation of the turnbuckle and the size of the ball cup. There's a short here and a long here. Short ball cup here, long ball cup here. Both of them are 3.5 millimeter ball ends. Moving on to step 11 in the last, again, we do not have an all thread. This is a turnbuckle with a pinhole for adjustment, and the cup that meets the arm, you're going to want to go ahead and move that from a 7.1 adjustment to a 5 millimeter spacing in between knuckle and front upper arm. Keep that in mind, guys. It's just mostly measurements. With the new knuckles that have the KPI adjustment, we are going to just make sure that you guys have this successful build off a rip, and wait for that PDF to be updated and available to you guys. There is nothing else in the manual itself that needs to be addressed. Everything went together very, very smoothly. So let's go ahead and look at the chassis right now, just a closer look, and I'll walk you through some of the features of it, as well as give you some good crisp shots to pause on if you need to assist and aid in the build. So again, if there's any questions, guys, please do, feel free to post in the TechStorm, the official TechStorm XRX group. That's both 1.0 and 2.0 bound, and shoot me email, DM on any of the socials. We'll get you situated 100%. So let's get over to the chassis. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the kit now. After addressing some of those small concerns in the manual and getting that kinked out, we feel real comfortable with what we have in hand. I think that this is going to be a fantastic slider. I think that the adjustability and some of the concerns there are going to definitely dissipate with the overtime and the use, to show that this thing is going to be as durable as it comes out the box. The fact that it is limited, yeah, that's really cool, but these are quality parts, guys. These are very quality pieces here, and there's still a lot that I need to do for this. I wanted to get just an honest build out the box with just the adjustments needed, but this has a lot of room for tuning that I still am gonna do once I get electronics and the thing sets itself, find out where we are with ride height, and going from there. Let's go over some of the features on the kit. One of the features that are not only very, very unique, but new to the XRX brand itself, is the servo mount. We have a servo mount right here that adjusts to the bottom, or the top in this case, servo, and it's adjustable. So you're going to have a 3-step adjustability on the servo mount, and that's going to give you the ability to accommodate larger or smaller servos. Of course, they're all drop-in now with the adjustability, but this is the standard. This is what most of the scene runs, and of course you see no issue with fitment, and still a lot more room, a couple millimeters to go shorter, or a couple millimeters to go larger. So you're going to see those mounting holes here, that is going to shift this entire servo mount back and forth. Another very, very cool and key feature of this is the unibody servo horn direct drive VX dock. This is a kink servo horn now that acts as not only the servo horn but the steering rack that I was showing you previously, and that's very, very fluent. I really, really like what they've done there, and the angle of this out the kit, out the box. It's phenomenal. With that, we have a very, very, very flush suspension setup, both front and rear. This thing is definitely ready to roll, and definitely ready to grab a bunch of slides. So that's really, really cool what they've done up front with the larger spring rate, and of course adjusting the actual shock body itself by a couple mil, and giving us a little bit more travel there. Another key feature is the adjustability on the chassis. Now you're going to be able to go from 98 millimeter wheelbase to 110 with the additional step adjustment in the rear for the transmission, but you're going to achieve that by loosening up your top button heads right here, and going ahead and loosening up your battery mounts, where you're going to be able to adjust via the additional holes that it does give you for the actual mounting of the bottom plates. When I say two-step adjustment in the transmission and the gear housing, you're going to see that there's 2 additional holes here, 2 additional holes here. Gives you the option to bring the suspension pin mounts and lower arm pin mounts back and forth to accommodate a little bit more wheelbase or shorten it. We have a little bit larger idle gear from previous by 1 tooth. It's going to be a lot smoother of a relay, a lot more wheel speed just with that 1 additional tooth back there, and it definitely is a lot smoother of a transmission house, virtually a free spinning transmission house. So that is definitely going to be awesome for the gear set. It does come with a lock diff with the option in the very near future to get a ball diff. Though the DPA 1.0 does work and is compatible, you do need the smaller idle gear. The 1 tooth less idle gear needs to be switched out to accommodate that specific diff case, or I mean a ball diff. Keep that in mind if you do go that route. It's not just a drop-in, but it is definitely something that is compatible. The rear suspension is flush, as I was showing you the front. This thing is definitely ready to get some slides, and I think the quality of the springs now are definitely an upgrade from all the kits I've seen. Shout out to them, they absolutely killed it. That is gonna conclude our little tabletop and adjustment on the actual manual. Those that did purchase it, I want to thank you guys again. Thank you for bearing with, and thank you for definitely having a bit of patience with us.